Hey folks, it's Ray Clay here. It's been a while since we did any videos regarding the Alton Gas project, but it's time for a little update on some information. We all know where it's at right now with the appeals being denied and what the government is planning on doing to let this project go ahead, and that it's in the hands of the Supreme Court. I'm hoping that maybe some of this information makes it to some of the proper channels. I've been talking about these core samples, so that's what I'm going to focus on today for quite a while, because everything boils down to the core samples in terms of all the science and everything else that's been put forth for reasons why the project should go ahead. But if these core samples are flawed or not representative of the whole amount of material that's going to be going into the river, then everything's below it falls away, and all of the science is flawed as well. Now, I believe that that is the case with the core samples, or for example the core sample. Now, everything that I'm going to be talking about today is based on the environmental assessment and the information that's been submitted by Alton Gas in terms of getting their approvals. So I'm going to just show you this. We will print these a little later on. These are the actual pages that show the samples, the elevations, what is exactly these samples are composed of, and they show this in a pie graph as well. And we'll get into that in a little detail later on, but I want people to know that this is their information, not mine. And the other things that I'm going to talk about were discussions that were actually had with Alton Gas at the meeting in Millbrook several months ago, where they had a question and answer period. And the questions regarding the core samples were still not answered adequately. So we're going to get into that in a little bit. First of all, there is only one core sample that was submitted. And just about any type of mining operation, there would be no funding or investment would be granted on one core sample. There would be several core samples done. For example, for one cavern site, which should have at least a dozen, maybe 18 core samples done. And that would be a complete core from the top of the salt deposit 100 meters down to the bottom. And it would show everything that they would run into when they're actually brining their way down through the cavern. So that's what would be an accurate way of doing it. Dissolve that whole core and then analyze it, and then you'd actually know what you're dealing with. Of course, we've only got one core sample to deal with. Now, I'm just going to grab this camera here. You'll excuse me for a minute. And I'm going to go open my back door, and I've got an area here that illustrates the scale, the size of where the caverns are going to go. So just bear with me here. You can see down the back of this field, this marker here is 300 meters from where I'm standing. That's quite a piece back. And if you look at there's a jog in the field. It comes and starts here and it goes over to here. Now that's exactly 100 meters. So in the distance between where I'm standing and there's a room for two caverns with 100 meters in between them. And you can see that's quite a long distance down there. So to have only one core sample to represent everything that's under the ground, a kilometer under the ground, and 100 meters into the salt, it seems to me painfully inadequate. Now, you have to bear in mind that this project is 18 caverns, so it's 9 times this size of this area. And 100 meters deep, so a football field in diameter, a football field deep. This would house 2, not 18. So that's really something to think about when you consider that this material is going into the river. Now, when we were questioned about, well, what if you hit something nasty, one of the officials was quoted and he said, well, we do testing. But there was no answer for what happens after it's tested and it's found to be toxic. So with these core samples the way they are, it's hard to predict. You cannot predict from one core sample what is going to be in all 18 caverns. Alright, so I'm going to just sign this little video off for now, and we're going to get into the next one here in a few minutes.